So let me ask you a question. Does your company offer a product that can actually provide a solution to a known problem? This is the exact question Nicholas Kusmich asked one of his clients before they went on to produce one of the biggest launches in internet history.
This is DigitalMarketer. Today, Nicholas Kusmich.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Marketer Podcast. My name is Garrett Holmes, and today it's just me. Jenna is out on a much-deserved vacation, enjoying the sunshine in beautiful Alabama. The man we're talking to today is Nicholas Kusmich. This gentleman is an international speaker. He's founder and CEO of nicholaskusmich.com, but he's best known as the world's leading Facebook advertising strategist and for having the highest ROIs in the industry. And he stopped by the office and dropped some serious knowledge bombs on us. I mean, he talks about the most important aspects of your Facebook advertising campaigns and some of the more philosophical strategies associated with running ads that actually convert. One of the really big things that stuck out to me from this conversation was his core message, and that's you must give before you ask anything in return. So think about that for a second. I'm going to repeat it, and I want you to think about it. So you must give before you ask anything in return. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You know, if you want something from your customers, if you want something from strangers who may become customers, you have to give them something before you ask them for anything. And this is one of his philosophies for how he produces some of the highest ROIs in the industry as it relates to Facebook ads. So we'll get into all of this and more today. Let's hop into the conversation. Without further ado, Nicholas Kusmich. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, man, the honor is mine. I'm so glad to be here and be a part of this. So thank you for letting me be here and hang out with you.
Absolutely. Well, you just got off the stage here at Partner Training Day, now hopping into what we like to call the Bat Cave here at Digital Marketer.
Feels like it.
The podcast studio. Nicholas, how are you?
Couldn't be better. Here in Austin, hanging out with you guys and just talking to some of the DM folks over there. So I'm stoked to be here. Beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful content. It's a good time.
Absolutely. Well, as folks were trickling out of the room, I had a chance to chat with a couple people, and two people in particular mentioned that you told this really, really compelling story of your entrance into the industry and where you got your start. I was hoping you could share that story with us here today.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back all the way to when I was 4 years old.
Okay.
I didn't know what was happening at the time. I was in our family's little apartment. My father fell to his knees and started screaming. And as a 4-year-old in like pre-kindergarten, I just started freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. Mom, apparently, again, I don't remember this, called 911. The next thing I know, Dad's being put on a stretcher and taken off to the hospital. And I later find out that he had experienced his first heart attack. This then actually set the stage of what life would be like in the Kusmich household. My father, unfortunately, had to go through a whole bunch of them. In fact, before he passed, went through 3 or 4 heart attacks, 3 strokes. It got to the point, actually, where whenever we found ourselves in a merge, I remember specifically I was having a conversation with a cardiac specialist who was going over the details with us as the family and what's happening with my father, that at the end of the conversation, that person asked me, so where do you practice medicine? And I said, well, actually, I don't. They're like, well, how are you so familiar with this terminology? I'm like, well, I kind of grew up in hospital. So health complications in the family. I'm an only child, immigrant parents.
As am I.
Right, which is a good thing. I love being an only child.
I do too.
Okay, good. So a son to immigrant parents. My father's from the Ukraine. My mother's from Korea. They came here later in age. So they started, I mean, they couldn't get normal work. They had their own little small business, which was a convenience store at the time. When I was 17, Dad had his second stroke, which essentially left him blind in his left eye and kind of unable to move that side of his body, which meant Mom and Dad had to give up their business. Now, the business wasn't necessarily making any money, but it was enough to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And so for the first time in her life, now Dad being unable to work, Mom now being forced to find a job. I remember it, man, like it was yesterday. Saturday morning, I'm sitting there. Again, I'm around 17 years old. I'm watching TV. Mom walks home up the stairs and is crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, Mom, what's going on? And of course, she didn't want to tell me at first, but then she reveals she had just come back from a job interview. It was manual labor, literally to fold clothes at a laundromat. And they wouldn't give her the job because she couldn't speak the language well, like speak English well.
Wow.
So they're basically at that point, I think, I'm 17 years old. I'm like, I've got to do something about this. Dad can't work. Mom, I don't want to see her ever like this. And I just made a mental decision to say, I'm going to figure this out. I know what this meant. And again, I don't feel like I was a born DNA entrepreneur. I felt like it was kind of thrust upon me to say, like, go figure this out and support your family. So at 17, it kind of started my journey into, this entrepreneurial world.
Yeah.
Tried all sorts of things, but it was the beginning of, fortunately, where we are today.
So were there any failed ventures on the way
None
to where
whatsoever.
you are today?
They were all perfect. Yeah. 17 years old, multimillionaire.
Right. That's just how it goes.
No, everything was a failure from the beginning. I mean, actually, let me take that back. It was a combination of like small successes and big failures.
Okay.
Which I think is worse than just failing right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Right? If you fail right out of the gate, you're just like, okay, well, maybe I'm not suited for this. But it's almost like the universe was teasing me and like saying, hey, here's a little taste of success. Let's take that away. And here's another little taste. So, one of the first things I did was I remember I responded to a newspaper ad that basically said get paid $16.78 an hour. And at that time, minimum wage was probably like $4 or $5. So I'm like, $16 an hour. This is good stuff. And I went to this job interview and I get in this room and there's like 40 other college students there. One guy gets in front of the room and cuts a rope in half with a knife and basically says, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be selling Cutco knives.
Cutco.
So I said, okay. So literally that was the beginning of like my sales thing. And fortunately though, I did really well very quickly.
Okay.
So this like false sense of confidence stepped into my being, became what they call a field sales manager and then a branch manager. And then I was faced with the decision like, okay, well, this means I might have to drop out of school, the amount of time required of me. Like, am I going to sell knives for the rest of my life or am I going to do something else?
Yeah.
I decided on the something else. And then I was introduced to internet marketing, digital marketing, whatever you call it. And then that was the beginning of failure after failure after failure, trying this type of thing and then being an affiliate and then doing this. And literally most of the time it wasn't even enough to pay the bills, but I was just driven to somehow figure it out.
Definitely. Well, you seem to have it all figured out now, which is an amazing thing. And, I see as you go to your website, you see all of the people that you work with, all of the success that you've had, and you obviously have a lot of wisdom to share. So I really, really want to get into that.
Sure.
But before we do that, the one thing that I was noticing on your LinkedIn page is that it says that you were chief strategist, right? Is that what the title that you give yourself?
I should recheck my LinkedIn page. I haven't seen that for a while. I guess so, though.
Yeah,
yes. Chief strategist. Absolutely.
So you're chief strategist.
I am indeed.
And it says it started in 2005, but Facebook ads didn't start till 2007.
Yes.
So that must mean that you were one of the pioneers in the early days of Facebook ads, or at least you were in it when Facebook ads first started rolling out.
I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
So what had happened was I was convinced through the internet marketing world that buying traffic was a good thing. Knowing how to essentially turn paid advertising into profit was a good skill to have. But I was too late to the Google AdWords game, and Google was the 800-pound gorilla. That's where everybody was playing. But again, they had all these weird animal slaps that kept happening. I don't want anything to do with this. So funny enough, at that time, and this is when Facebook ads had just released beta, so not to everybody, I decided let's play on Facebook ads, and at the same time, oddly enough, let's play on the advertising platform of Plenty of Fish, the dating site.
Interesting.
Because they both come out around the same time.
Yeah.
Plenty of Fish had gathered amazing amounts of user data, because anytime someone had to fill out a profile, you know a lot about them.
Yeah.
They were intelligent enough to set up an advertising platform around that. So at the exact same time, I started playing with Facebook ads, and the only thing available were the little right-hand rail ads. They called them at the time. And Plenty of Fish had a similar type of ad unit. There was a little itty-bitty thing that popped up. And God, it was the wild, wild west. But I said, I'm too late to the Google game. I don't know anything else. I wish I could say I had the foresight to see where Facebook was going. I clearly didn't.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of luck from the universe. Again, right place, right time. Started playing with the platform. Started getting results.
Yeah.
And then realizing there might be something here. Then, through another series of events, I decided to kind of jump 2 feet in.
Okay. So what did you kind of get your start on Facebook ads with? I mean, what were you advertising?
Yeah. So, oh, it's all coming out.
I mean, you don't have to share anything you don't want to.
No, so I had, again, through this like internet marketing world, I wrote an ebook,
Okay.
which then evolved into an online course.
Yeah.
And I figured, okay, well, just do what they say, right? Buy traffic, drive them to the thing, and
Yeah.
sell the thing.
Yeah.
So I had this ebook, and the ebook originally was selling for like $17 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the fat loss / fitness niche.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And back then, Facebook and Plenty of Fish was the wild, wild west. You could literally put an image of whatever you want, of
course.
anything you want.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
did that. And literally, I started to notice that I would spend $3 or $4 and I would make $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. We're not talking big money, of course. But
Right.
you're like, wait a second. This is working.
Yeah.
Like, if every time I spend $3 or $4, I can make $5 or $6, let's see how many times I could spend $3 or $4. And so we just started spending little bits of money, and, dollars turned into tens of dollars, and tens of dollars turned into hundreds of dollars, and hundreds started turning into thousands. But I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, well, I guess everybody's making this work.
Right.
Surely it's so easy. You put
Yeah.
an image, you write some words, they click, they buy. And then I started to realize that that wasn't the case. I started getting into conversations with people and attending events, and people saying, well, yeah, I tried that Facebook ad thing and it just doesn't work.
Wow.
That was the foray. I was literally selling an ebook for a couple of bucks, and then a course that I think was like $97 at the time. But I was one of the fortunate ones where, like, almost right out of the gate, it started to work.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got hooked and said, well, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to understand it. This could be a game changer.
Yeah.
And it was, in fact, for me.
Awesome. Being in it from the beginning and seeing how far it's come, I'm sure it does look completely different, but from your perspective, what have kind of been the biggest changes along the way that were pivotal in your experience with ads?
I think the biggest changes that most advertisers will notice is this constant change to their terms of service, which then change the rules about what you can and cannot do on Facebook. And especially for us, and when I say us, like those who are grown up or part of the direct response marketing space. When they teach direct response marketing, oftentimes you could make outlandish claims and say ridiculous things just to capture attention and get someone kind of invested in the process with you. So people were doing that on Facebook, and all of a sudden Facebook's like, well, you can't show pictures of naked people. You can't show pictures of before and after weight loss. You can't show pictures of anything that would make someone feel uncomfortable. You can't say words that would start to make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so literally overnight, I'm saying that in air quotes, people started losing their ad accounts like crazy because the direct response marketers couldn't adapt to this new way of social advertising. And I think that was the biggest difference is early on in the days, it was the wild, wild west. You could say whatever you want. You didn't even have to be a really good marketer. You could literally just like swipe the files of whoever did something before you and go from there. And now I think if you really want to make Facebook work, you have to just be a little bit more of an intelligent marketer. You got to understand social dynamics and social behavior. You got to understand what causes someone to buy, the buying cycle of an individual, and those types of things.
Yeah, it really is crazy. I wasn't in Facebook ads that early, but seeing it as a consumer and just how much it changed, it's just wild. Moving into the future, over time, what has come out in the world of Facebook ads that has gotten you most excited?
Like all things, Facebook is real estate, and real estate is limited, right? Even now, and someone told me this, I didn't believe them until I actually scrolled through my newsfeed. 1 in 5 posts are Facebook ads right now, like 1 in 5.
Wild.
Yeah. And the other side of this is, so what Facebook has going on is ads are their primary revenue generator. So they want to make sure that ads run well. Secondly, Facebook is very protective of their community. They want to make sure that people who are using Facebook feel comfortable using the platform, hence they'll keep their users forever, which poses a very interesting situation for the advertiser. Because you have Facebook in your corner saying, we want to make sure you do well because that means we do well. But at the same time, we want to protect our community. What I love about this, though, is that Facebook is ever evolving the ads platform. Now, most marketers see that as a bad thing. Like, oh my God, the ads manager changed again. It just changed 3 weeks ago and it's changing again in 3 weeks. I see this as a good thing because Facebook is ever evolving into saying, how can they create better experiences? So Back in the day, it was conversion ads, and then it turned into lead ads, and then video was a big thing. Then, chat bots and those types of ads are a big thing. Now they're moving into like messenger stuff, and a whole bunch of stuff is on the horizon. So I can't pinpoint and say like this is one thing is what I'm most excited about with Facebook. But what I can say is that Facebook is looking to make Facebook ads the most dominant ad platform in the world. And they're going to constantly evolve to create very unique experience for their users, which creates very unique opportunities for the business owner who wants to advertise on the platform.
Well put. So I want to dive into a little bit more of the tactical stuff that everyone out there listening can kind of take and apply to their own business. So can you recount one of your favorite campaigns that you've ever run and kind of break that down for us?
Sure. What we've learned over the past is that there are certain frameworks that work and certain frameworks that don't. And I say that before I get into the specific of it, just because I think a lot of people have this misconception that Facebook is like pixie dust. So you just like sprinkle it on whatever you're doing and all of a sudden it makes it work and it's beautiful. Facebook, in my opinion, is an eyeball store for one, but more than that, it's an accelerator.
Yeah.
So if you have a broken process and you throw fire to a broken process, it's just going to break it even more or show how bad it is. But if you have a beautiful, proven process, and then you can take something like Facebook ads and accelerate that to scale it, it works even better. So I think when you understand marketing 101, not Facebook marketing, not internet marketing, like marketing 101, what causes people to say yes? What are some good buying decisions? How do people think when they're in a buying state? All that. Then you can turn around and have some amazing things. So a perfect example of this is a guy by the name of Ty Bollinger. His backstory is he lost his father to cancer, lost several other family members to cancer. His wife also lost some family members to cancer. And they said, you know what? In their eyes, the medical system has let them down. They want to see if there are alternatives or something else out there that could have given the answers that they were looking for. Mm-hmm. So they literally took a small camera crew, traveled around the world looking for top experts in like health, nutrition, exercise, anything that could help them from a cancer perspective. And they recorded this and they put this into a 9-part docuseries or a documentary series, videos, literally. So they said, okay, we got this docuseries. We've called it The Truth About Cancer. Mm-hmm. And we have a message that we believe can change the world for at least people who are affected by this chronic disease. Now, at this time, he didn't have a following. He didn't have much going on. And so they started to explore this idea of like, could Facebook ads be a process by which they can spread this message to the world?
Yeah.
Through a series of events, we came into contact and we started running Facebook ads for them. The long story short, I'll tell you what ended up happening and then how we got there. Yeah. Where they are today is, God, and I don't want to mess up the numbers, but I would have to say like over 30 or 40 million people have watched the docuseries. People have literally writing in every day saying how it's helped their family member, changed a life, or saved a life for that matter. It's done all this stuff. Cool. They ended up having one of the biggest launches. The perspective is the people I've worked with and the people that I know who launch in the internet marketing space, but they've had a very, very one of the best known launches on the internet because of Facebook ads. And obviously they have this extremely thriving company that has spawned into The Truth About Pet Cancer. And they have a supplement line with another company that's kind of indirectly associated with their company. Now they have this big, thriving, huge business that it's not also a money juggernaut, but it's helping lives everywhere they go. But how did this happen? A simple process was, do you have something that can help an individual out there? Do you have something that someone else is interested in and that can actually provide a solution to a known problem? Their answer was yes, right? Now, not everybody who advertises on Facebook can answer yes to that, which I think is a good starting point. Like, do you have something that can help somebody? Their answer was yes. So then they said, okay, how are we going to do this? Essentially, they wanted to sell these DVDs or these online videos. And they said, well, we could do it one of two ways. We can say, hey, come buy our DVD set. It's an amazing DVD set. I think you're really going to benefit. We traveled all around the world and we had all these interviews with all these amazing people. Come buy our DVD set. Or we can follow certain marketing principles. In fact, I wrote a book called Give based on what I believe to be a core foundational principle in internet marketing or digital advertising. That's you must give before you ask for anything in return. Mm-hmm. So they said, well, why don't we just air the docuseries for free? Let's just show everybody all 9 episodes. We'll run ads that says, hey, This docuseries is starting 2 weeks from today. If you want to see it, give us your name and your email address. We'll email you when every episode goes live, and it'll go live for 9 days, showing you one episode a day until the whole thing is done. And then at the end of it, if you really liked it or you want to rewatch it, you could buy the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
People thought they were crazy. Why would you give the whole thing away? And they said, well, I think if they watch it and they love it, they might want it.
Mm-hmm.
Novel idea. So long story short, first time we launched this, generated 400,000 or 500,000 leads. Had just about a good number of those people watch the docuseries. And ended up having a multi-million-dollar launch. Not a bad showing for the first time.
Not bad at all.
That's when they realized, we got something that actually works. So they did it again, but at scale now, where we really pushed aggressively, generated millions in their leads bucket, had a very, very, very successful launch, and then that spawned into like some of these other kind of businesses. But the model was simple. Do you have something that somebody has demonstrated that they have an interest in and can provide a solution to somebody? Do you have a mechanism to generate that lead? And in their case, let's show the docuseries. And then can you provide so much value through that experience that at the end of it, when you give someone an opportunity to buy, those who are interested have no reason to not say yes? And at its very core foundation, I think that's what marketing on Facebook is. Most people miss it. They're just like, show an ad, buy a product, show an ad, buy a product. The ones who are the most successful that we've ever worked with is help them solve the problem in advance, and then give them another opportunity to purchase something that's going to help get them even an accelerated result. And I think that's the core of what really works on Facebook right now.
Definitely. What are people getting wrong with Facebook ads? Because there's a lot of people out there who are struggling to make their ads work, and they just can't. Time after time, they keep coming up short. What are people getting wrong?
I think there's a couple of ways to look at it. On the very, very like macro high level, what they're getting wrong is kind of what we talked about. Like, they don't have a system that's proven to work. I believe every step in a funnel or a process is designed to do one specific function. So I believe the role of the ad has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to get a click, to then take them to another page. Let's call it a lead capture page. Then the point of the lead capture page has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to capture the lead, which then, let's say, takes them to a sales page. And of course, the sales page has one function and one function only, is to sell or convert that lead. Where I find a lot of people mess up with this is people try to make the ad sell the thing at the end. So you're actually skipping 2 steps here, and you're trying to make your ad all fancy and convincing and, persuasive and whatever to influence someone to buy something that they don't really want to buy. You're missing the actual flow of things. In our membership community, we do ad reviews. I'll do ad reviews for everyone in there. Anyone who wants to submit an ad, I review it and I say, this is what you probably tweak and modify. And one of the things I noticed that kept coming up in the ads was the ads were all about them or their business or their product. So they're like, we got like 13 different colors and all these super fabrics. And if it's, let's say, a clothing item or whatever. And I think what people don't realize here is the primary question that someone asks in their first interaction with you digitally is, what's in it for me? That's all they're asking. Mm-hmm. And so if you're like, we got 14 different colors and 3 different sizes and it's made of really soft fabric, they're like, I don't care. What's in it for me? Mm-hmm. Now, the beauty is, in a lot of ads, I think 3 simple words can turn any feature into a benefit. And those words are, so you can. So if I were to say, hey, we've got like 14 different colors and left it there, that's a feature nobody really cares. If I said, we've got 14 different colors, so you can mix and match this with any of your outfits anytime you want to go out on any day of the week. Now they're like, whoa, okay, so I can. So by those 3 words, you can turn any feature into a benefit. But I think the other problem, or the greatest mistake outside of having a system that actually works, is forgetting that the ads are really all about your prospect. It's not about you and your business or your product. And once you can make that shift and stop selling from the get-go, see Facebook as the opportunity to start a relationship, i.e. generate a lead, and make the whole process all about your prospect, I mean, there's no reason for Facebook not to work. The only time I've ever seen Facebook not work is when anyone has tried to violate that simple fundamental principle right there.
Mic drop. Boom. Love it. So, you've got a new book.
Yes.
Titled Give.
Yes.
What's Give all about?
Funny that you bring that up because it's really hard to sell a book called Give. Right? So we've should have thought that through a little bit.
Right.
It's basically, I've taken all my years of understanding Facebook and spending a lot of money on Facebook and working with some fantastic clients around the idea and distilling down the process into a simple step-by-step formula. We have a formula, a framework, if you will, that has led to the success that we've seen. And the book talks all about that. But at the core of that, and why it's called Give, is I believe that there are two laws to the world of digital advertising. Law number one is you must give before you receive or before you even ask. Mm-hmm. And law number two is that every step of the marketing process should be beneficial in and of itself.
Yeah.
In other words, if anyone's seeing a marketing piece from you, even if they choose to not transact with you, they still walk away from that experience saying, wow, I learned something, or I got some value, or I walked away a better person from that. So hence it's called Give, and it's just really reiterating kind of this fundamental principle of the things we even talked about here today of understand how can you put customers first in terms of how can you provide value, how you can generate leads, how you can then take that lead and turn them into a prospect and have that prospect and turn them into a customer, and literally walk someone through my 4M framework on how they can do that. And the 4M's, just in case anyone's asking, is market. It always starts with a market. I call these my ROAS accelerators, return on ad spend accelerators.
Yep.
First is the market. I think a lot of people have like a mismatch in their market. And I'm not just talking about customer avatar. I'm like, do you really know, if you were a fly on your ideal prospect's wall on their best days and their worst days, do you know what they would be saying behind closed doors? Like, do you really know who that person is and how you can serve them? I call it the hot button tool. It's realizing that everybody makes decisions based on 4 primary movers: fears, frustrations, wants, and aspirations. Do you know your prospects' fears, frustrations, wants, and aspirations? Because that would drive all your messaging and your languaging and everything. So first is really knowing who your market is. I call it that your 4%, the people you could serve the best and help the best, which then leads to message. It's once you know who you are serving, what is the message you communicate to them? Both from a perspective of ads and all that, of course, and how you can help them and serve them and provide value to them, but also in your business. Why would someone want to interact with you versus your competitor? Is what you're saying any different than your competitor, or are you just lost in the sea of sameness? Are you just noise in an already noisy place? Just getting very clear about your message that matches that market. The third M is magnet, because we always believe that we have to give before we receive or ask. And so the magnet, I believe, plays a very pivotal role in the scheme of Facebook ads. Is what can you give somebody that can provide a result in advance for them to get them to say, that was a great experience, what's next? Which is kind of the best question any prospect can ask of any business owner, what's next? And then the fourth M is what I call mechanism or movement. It's what is the systems and the processes that you need to have in place to make this kind of automated. It's what is your funnel, quote unquote? What is your top of funnel? What needs to go where in order for this process to kind of happen on a perpetual basis? And I think if you have those 4 M's in place, which is what the book is all about, there's no reason why any business owner can't make Facebook ads profitable for them.
No doubt. Awesome. The 4 M's.
4 M's.
Love it. So one question that we always like to end with,
okay,
and it's a little bit more philosophical.
Oh, gosh.
So dig a little deep here.
Okay.
So going through all of these experiences that you've gone through, what advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
Ooh.
And you can take some time to think.
There's so many ways that I might look at it, but I think it would be something along the lines of there's going to be good and there's going to be bad and there's going to be ugly. I think most people strive to rush to the good, rush out of the bad, and avoid the ugly. I think what I've learned in life and what's allowed us to get to the place that we've been in is embrace it all and experience it all. Like sometimes life is going to be ugly, and rather than trying to rush out of that, have that experience of ugliness. Like just go through what was meant to be experienced in that time. I found that with business, with clients, with relationships, with everything, nothing's going to be pretty all the time. But if you don't allow yourself to have that experience and learn from it, and know that there's going to be more ugly down the road as well, I think we bypass some of life's greatest lessons. If I look back at the quote unquote success that we've had, or all the lessons that we've learned, or the greatness that's being currently experienced, all of that came not from our high times. I mean, those came from the learnings of the nasty times, the things that weren't good, the things that hurt like hell, the time you spent $80,000 of a client's money that you shouldn't have, and you had to explain that and refund it back to them and solve that whole thing and protect your reputation in the process, which happened to us, by the way.
Yeah.
I think the real thing here, if I look back to my 25-year-old self who was just like, oh, go get, hustle hard, you can achieve every dream you've ever dreamed of, and life is going to be easy as long as you follow these things. I'd just be like, wake up, kid. I mean, life is real. There's good, there's bad, and there's ugly. Embrace it all. Learn everything you can from every moment and just make the most of it. Some of there might not even be any good to make of it. But I think if the younger generation, if you will, or folk can realize that, I think there's a lot to learn by, and we'll just create this great character of the next generation of entrepreneurs. We're going to see life a little bit differently and make life better for everybody.
Awesome. Well, Nicholas Kusmich, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey.
Before we sign off,
yes,
where can people find out more about you and what you're working on?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I have like the most unbrandable name in the world because it's difficult to spell. Unfortunately,
spell it out.
Everything is under my brand, nicholaskusmich.com, NicholasKusmich.com. Whenever someone's ready, the 3 ways that I could probably best help them is 1, or 4 ways, let's say. 1, I wrote a book called Give, and you could probably get it for like $12 or whatever it's being sold for on Amazon. It's a great introduction into the world of me and Facebook advertising. Secondly, if you're already running ads, we have a free template and that teaches you how to write great ads. It's nicholaskusmich.com/theperfectad template. Or if you're kind of more advanced, I think the 2 other things is we have a program called The Council. It's a membership community of business owners looking to connect with and get direct access to me on a daily basis so I can help them. Like I said, that was where I review people's ads and I help them out with stuff, and that's found at nicholaskusmich.com/thecouncil. And then lastly, kind of our Sistine Chapel. Like if I'm Michelangelo and his pinnacle was a Sistine Chapel, my pinnacle is a 2-day experience called the Art of Lead Gen Intensive. And it's literally where we trap business owners in a room with me and we just build their systems for them right there on the spot.
Wow.
So there's no excuses. You can't say, well, I tried and it didn't work. No, we're just going to do it for you right there on the spot so you get the results that we know you can get.
Wow.
So they're probably the 4 best ways that I can help an individual whenever they're ready.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining.
No, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully you'll be out in Austin again pretty soon here. And
I hope so.
We'll be able to chat again.
Awesome.
So, all right. Thanks a
Thanks
lot.
so much.
Wow, what a great conversation. Nicholas was such a pleasure to sit down with. It was so great to hear his philosophy towards creating ads and to kind of learn a little bit about his strategy towards approaching the platform. And, you know, if this is something that really resonated with you, if you're out there creating Facebook ads for your business and if you feel like you're stuck creating one-off ads with no real strategy behind them, then I want to tell you about something that we have here at Digital Marketer that could help you, and that's called the Ad Grid. So we've created this strategic 7-step process that you can use to create ad campaigns with true market to message match so that they convert better, scale better, and ultimately produce more sales for your business. So the Ad Grid will teach you how the pros, like Nicholas Kusmich, create high converting ad campaigns that accurately reflect the customer journey for every segment of your audience. So this is a tool that we use here at Digital Marketer and something that has helped us scale our campaigns across the platform. And it's something that I think you could really benefit from in your business. So head on over to digitalmarketer.com/Facebook ads. Again, that's digitalmarketer.com/Facebook ads to get your copy of the Ad Grid today. So thank you so much for joining us today. Jenna will be back next week here in studio, and we'll be talking to another amazing guest here in the Batcave. So until next week, take it easy. We'll see you soon.